Okay, today I'm going to make a loaf of rye bread. I'm actually going to write down the amounts that I use so that somebody can actually make this. I'm going to start out with 2 cups of apple cider. That's recording. 2 cups of apple cider. 1. 2 cups of apple cider. This is warm water out of the tap, nice and warm. About a third of a cup of water. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of Fleischmann's yeast to dissolve in. I'm going to take the apple cider, I'm going to put it in the microwave for 2 bath water, or your bath water. If it's any hotter than that, it'll kill the yeast. So I'm making my yeast dissolve in the water. You have to do this, it makes the yeast come alive and become active. Cider is good. Ooh, that's a little warm. It's a little warm. A little too warm. Actually, it's too hot. So since it is too hot, I want to add some of the things to it now that I would normally wait for. Like a tablespoon of caraway seed powder. Caraway seed powder. And to that, I will add a quarter of a cup of caraway seeds. Caraway seeds, a quarter of a cup. Caraway seeds. And then to that, I'm going to add bran, wheat bran. A quarter of a cup of wheat bran. Okay. Only got 3 things left, well, a couple things left to add here. So I'm going to stir this up and see if it's gotten any cooler yet. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. So, to that, I will add the yeast. To this, I will add 1½ cups of rye flour. 1½ cups. This is 3/4 of a cup, so 2 of these would be 1½. 1½ cups of rye flour. 1½ cups of white whole wheat flour. Or regular whole wheat flour, you can use that too. Doesn't matter if it's white or I like the white whole wheat, it's a little lighter. And then the, okay, mix this up. Now, there's not much gluten in this because the flours that we just used don't have much gluten in them. Okay? So, in order to have gluten in it to feed the yeast, you have to use bread flour. So now I'm going to add probably 1½ cups also of bread flour in here. One. 1½ cups of bread flour. Okay. And of course now I got to get it off of that. That's all the ingredients we use in this. That's it. So there's no salt, No added sugar. There's no shortening. It's just the apple cider. And we mix this up. I'm going to get my spatula out of there and get a heavier spoon because I don't want to break my spatula. Or the best thing to do, this is a clean counter, if you can, or else you just keep playing with it in the bowl. But I'm going to work it here on the counter. You're thinking, what a mess, huh? What a mess. Yes. Flour will pick up, the dough will pick up the flour that's there. And all of a sudden you'll see all that flour disappear. And the lump will get a little harder. But you gotta keep playing with it until it all turns the same light brown color. You can't have any white going through it. So, just keep playing with it, rolling it around, pushing it, rolling it, pushing it, playing with it. Now when it gets to this point, whoops, it's getting a little sticky still. So it's not quite, pretty close. Just a little bit more flour so it doesn't stick to my hands. Don't want it to stick to my hands. And keep playing with it until it's brown, light brown. Now I got my proofing cup oven. How's that coming up? Yeah, it's coming up to proofing. So just warm temperature. I think it's like 85 degrees in my bread proofing oven. And now that looks pretty good. Looks kind of like it's all light brown, the whole thing. There's no white part. And, okay. So, there it is. Goes back in the bowl. Get a top on the bowl so the moisture does not escape and the heat stays in. We'll put it in the oven now. Bread proofing. If you don't have a bread proofing on your oven, put it by somewhere warm, 80 degrees, probably about an hour, and it will double in size. Okay, the bread dough has risen, as you can see, risen quite a bit. So now, I'm going to put it in the pan that I'm going to bake it in. Now, you can either use a regular bread pan, might be a little too big. You might want to use one of these plus, or two of these, and make smaller loaves, or I'm going to punch it down like this. It would work. I'm going to put it in a bean pot. I have a round loaf of bread. Put it in the air, squish it down, okay. Then I'm going to cover it, and I'll put it back in my warming oven for about another. The bread has risen. I'm about ready to put it in the 400-degree oven for 40 minutes. This is the bread just coming out of the oven. There it is, rye bread. Let it cool and slice it.